in the first day of the free agency tampering period, the NFL spent, depending upon which contracts are real and not real, $1.94 billion in contracts around the NFL as of last night. Teams are excited. Teams have to spend money, and there's a lot of new faces in new places. We're talking pillar players are now playing for other teams. Yeah. Russell Wilson's a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a big deal.
Yep.
That's a huge deal.
Come on.
Aaron Jones, a member of the Vikings.
Yeah. Wow. Oh,
running back for the Packers. He's now playing for the Vikings. Oh, Brett Favre, classic. Oh, that's a little rivalry there in the NFC North. All of a sudden, Aaron Jones, the man who scored 5 touchdowns in one game, is going to be wearing his really cool sunglasses playing for the Minnesota Vikings because the Green Bay Packers said, you know what, take a 50% pay cut or we're going to sign Josh Jacobs and give it to you and A.J. Dillon. So that is what they ended up doing. Congrats, Goody. I got trust in Goody. I think you do as well.
Correct.
For the Green Bay Packers, but he's in a new town. How about Joe Mixon? Well, he's been traded. He's gone. Zach Moss from the Indianapolis Colts. He comes into this entire thing. There's a lot of new faces in new places that you wouldn't expect. How about New York Giants face? Okay? And you talk to Giants fans. Who do you hate? Who do you hate if you're a Giants fan? I assume you don't like the Commanders, but they're the Commanders.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The Cowboys, you don't like them because they're the NFC East, but who do you really hate that's really close? You hate who? The Philadelphia Eagles.
The Birds.
Well, they just signed your best player. Saquon Barkley is now a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. And Saquon, obviously, for the last couple years has been trying to get a good contract. Remember, he was the one that almost started the running back union in the running back chaos last offseason that saw Jonathan Taylor end up sitting out because the running back market was devalued and yada, yada. Now we go to this free agency. The running backs are some of the most active ones in the entire free agency period. But Saquon Barkley, face of the Giants for a while, is now the Philadelphia Eagles' big hope. Well, what did the Giants do? They did a lot. The Talks tables here at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. Feels like there was a lot of action yesterday. Obviously, $1.94 billion, depending upon whose numbers and contract. That's from Spotrac, most specifically. But all these things could be a little bit different. Around $2 billion was spent yesterday. There's still a lot of big names. There's some other signings that took place yesterday. I think they were a little bit rattling as they came across the wire.
Yeah, huge one. Giants replaced Saquon with Devin Motor Singletary from Houston, coming off his best year.
We did not know that his nickname was Motor.
No, and as soon as we found out, we were all pretty bummed.
We love Big Motor.
Yeah.
Devin Singletary, running back for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, us not getting that was a huge bummer across the board. A lot of quarterbacks kind of getting places. Jacoby Brissett to New England, Sam Darnold to Minnesota, Gardner Minshew to the Raiders. Apparently all competing for starting jobs, at least definitely Gardner and Aiden O'Connell. Sam Darnold, you would assume, also would be competing for that starting job, and then Jacoby Brissett, too.
Also, Jameis Winston signs with the Cleveland Browns.
That's right.
He did.
So right now, that quarterback room is Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston.
Nice.
That's a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. We need Hard Knocks in there. We need that particular room to be documented for an entire season, for an entire year. Now, we know Deshaun Watson has signed the biggest guaranteed contract in the history of the NFL. Shout out to Mulugeta.
Shout out.
David Mulugeta's cooking still this particular. He got Christian Wilkins that deal with the Las Vegas Raiders. They actually recorded the entire thing whenever Mulugeta let Wilkins know, like, hey, bud, congrats. You are very wealthy all of a sudden. But Mulugeta signs that Deshaun Watson deal. Deshaun Watson had been out of football for a year and a half, let alone what he had been out of football dealing with.
Right. Yeah.
Very serious. Super serious. Never going to undersell that. But the amount of weight that is, mentally, physically, year and a half out of football, because before all that stuff happened, very serious stuff happened, allegations that happened, and trials and court cases, and they would indict a ham sandwich.
Correct.
Learning from lawyers, and we had to deal with that entire offseason. Obviously, nowhere near what it was. Just a lot. Before he was sitting out before that because he didn't want to play for the Houston Texans. So he missed a lot of football. So signing him to the largest guaranteed contract in the history of the NFL was obviously what we thought was a magic worker by David Mulugeta. But we all wondered, like in the football world, is this guy going to be worth a damn at football whenever he comes back? You can't just fall out and then just jump back in, especially at the professional level. He had some lumps, he had some bumps, he had some bruises, had some glimpses of potential being Deshaun Watson, but overwhelmingly a big bummed out bummer. Deshaun Watson played football. Joe Flacco comes in.
Dog.
wins them games, makes the offense look how it's supposed to look. And now Deshaun Watson just kind of has to sit there and watch that entire thing. It's his team. They bring in Jameis to help him, I would assume. So Jameis is coming in there to motivate Deshaun Watson to get back to who Deshaun Watson once was, to keep him healthy. Or is Jameis Winston there because inevitably they think Deshaun Watson's not going to make it through an entire season, and we need somebody that has previous starting experience? I would assume that's a signing for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that feels like what a lot of teams are doing, like even the Raiders with Gardner. It feels like because of that year, the backup quarterback last year where there were 70 to 80 different starting quarterbacks across the NFL, that everyone's just saying, we can't have a Jets situation like they had last year where you lose a guy week one and then your entire season.
The Jets brought in Tyrod Taylor.
They bring in Tyrod Taylor. Like that feels like that might be kind of the thought. And Marcus Mariota also going to the Commanders to kind of be that bridge or veteran guy in whatever rookie they end up with.
Yeah, so it seems like the backup quarterback market is good. The veteran quarterback market is good. Now, obviously, they're not making $30 million, even though Kirk Cousins just signed a $180 million deal. Congrats, Kirk Cousins. Congrats to Kirk Cousins and McCartney down there in Atlanta. We have reached out to try to get an interview and a conversation with Kirk Cousins just to break down how he is such a beast at the negotiation table. I think a lot of it revolves around him continuing to bet on himself and play good football. And by good football, it's football that GMs think around the league. Like, you can win with Kirk Cousins.
Oh, yeah.
You can win with Kirk Cousins. If you think you can win, you're going to be willing to spend whatever to make that happen, to get over the hump, especially whenever Desmond Ridder was your quarterback for the past few years and you had no idea if he was
correct.
Every game was like, maybe.
Yeah.
And then it would get down to red zone. We have four
fumbled
turns.
out of the end zone.
Yeah, and it's like Desmond Ridder looked like he was 40 years old, but obviously there were some rookie woes and some young player woes and everything like that. So they are in the need of a quarterback. Feels like it was a perfect situation for Kirk. Good luck with them down there. Very proud of Kirk Cousins. 35 years old, coming off an Achilles, able to negotiate $100 million in guarantees at quarterback position is obviously incredible.
Yeah.
Unfeasible.
Stunning.
Legendary business move from Kirk. But you're hearing a lot of players, especially with how this whole season's working or how this whole free agency is working out. Aaron Jones told, hey, can you cut your contract in half? Allegedly, it's being reported.
Right.
Was told, can you cut your contract in half? He said no. They stopped talking to him. Okay, you're gone. Joe Mixon, he was like going to bat for being a Bengal. Then all of a sudden they bring in Zach Moss. Hey, you're gone. No, you're actually traded. You're not even able to pick where the hell you're going next. A lot of these contracts are coming and going whenever they're not supposed to. So it's giving a lot of players ammo about, hey, why do I get attacked, but the team doesn't get attacked?